Hello everyone, I thought I'd try something new today. I enjoy sharing my records with my friends, and unfortunately my YouTube friends can't be here in my home listening to the recordings that I have. What I wanted to do is at least share with you some of the records. In fact, I'm going to be going through what I played over the last couple weeks. This week I started with the S's, and I have here, well, it'd be nice if I got the album up straight. Positively the most exciting voice in the last 15 years. This is a recording that Joni Summers did in 1960. Some of you might remember that her greatest hit was Johnny Get Angry. That song I remember listening to as a teenager, and I fell in love with her voice and have albums and CDs by her. This album happens to be one that was issued by Pioneer Warner Brothers from Japan. And I bought a lot of these Japanese pressings, and there's some in the stack from England back in the mid-80s at Tower Records. The next album I have here is called Positively the Most, the Smart Styling Voices by the Voice of the 60s. Again, it's Joni Summers. This is an original Warner Brothers issue from 1961. The arrangements were custom designed by Neal Hefti and his orchestra. Include such songs as This Can't Be Love, Cherokee, For All We Know, A Wonderful Guy, This Heart of Mine, Aren't You Glad You're You, etc. Another voice that I discovered in the 1980s is a English reissue on MCA, Jerry Southern, When I Fall in Love. Includes such songs as When I Fall in Love, Fire Down Below, You Better Go Now, I Thought of You Last Night, An Occasional Man, The Honorable Mr. So-and-so, You Make Me Feel So Young, Little Girl Blue, Someone to Watch Over Me, etc. The next album that I listened to is Jerry Southern meets Cole Porter. Again, this is a reissue by Pathé Marconi of an original Capitol recording. The orchestra is arranged and conducted by Billy May. It includes such numbers as Don't Look at Me That Way, Looking at You, It's All Right With Me, Let's Fly Away, Why Shouldn't I, You're the Top, etc. All Cole Porter tunes, and all of them are excellent. The next album I have here is The Great 16, Muggy Spainier's Ragtime Band. This was an album issued by RCA in 1956. Includes Relaxin' at the Turo, Mandy Make Up Your Mind, I Wish I Could Shimmy Like My Sister Kate, At the Jazz Band Ball, Dinah, Big Butter and Eggman, Livery Stable Blues, etc. The next album is Joe Stafford's Greatest Hits. This was issued by Decca in the late 60s. Unfortunately, it is enhanced for stereo. Includes such hits as Shrimp Boats, I'll Be Seeing You, St. Louis Blues, You Belong to Me, Jambalaya, Come Rain or Come Shine. This are the Columbia recordings that she did that were reissued on Decca. It's my understanding that Joe Stafford and her husband Paul Weston owned the rights and owned the masters to their records. So I guess they could just use any label they wanted to, and for whatever reason they went to Decca for the reissue. This week I've been listening to the K-Star Style. This album, again, is a Pathé Marconi reissue of a 1955 album. This album originally appeared in a 10-inch format, and they added extra songs to make a 12-inch pressing of it in 1955. Next is an album that's hard to find. It's K-Star in a Blue Mood on Capitol. This record includes such songs as I Got the Spring Fever Blues, I Got It Bad and That Ain't Good, After You've Gone, Everybody's Somebody's Fool, He's Funny That Way, etc. And on the album, they didn't give the credit to the orchestra on here or who was conducting. Let's see, I suppose I could go ahead and let's find out who the orchestra was on this one. Harold Mooney and Frank Duval were the orchestras that did the conducting. It's funny that Capitol didn't put that on their record jacket, because they usually do that with most of their artists. Next is Movin'. Kay Starr sings and swings to a dozen great songs wonderfully suited to her unmistakable driving style, with orchestra conducted by Van Alexander. Such songs as On a Slow Boat to China, Around the World, Sentimental Journey, Going to Chicago Blues, Swinging Down the Lane, Lazy River, etc. And of course the title hit, Movin'. The next album is Kay Starr Jazz Singer. The orchestrations on this are probably Van Alexander. I guessed it right without having to, well, I had to look at the front, but I had an idea that's who was doing the arrangements on this. Such songs as I Never Knew, Hard-Hearted Hannah, Happy Days and Lonely Nights, My Honey's Lovin' Arms, and Sunday. The next album I have is one that was reissued by Capitol in the early 70s. It's called Kay Starr Just Plain Country. It includes such songs as Pins and Needles in My Heart, Crazy, Four Walls, Blues Stay Away From Me, I Really Don't Want to Know, Singing the Blues and Don't Worry, etc. Then in the 1960s, Kay decided to re-record all of her hits in stereo. This one happens to be issued on the Starline series. Includes such songs as Side by Side, I'm the Lonesomest Gal in Town, Comes Along a Love, Bonaparte's Retreat, Wheel of Fortune, Rock and Roll Waltz, Foolin' Around, Allez-vous Zen, Go Away, and Hoop-Dee-Doo, and others. The music that's in the background comes from this album, which Kay did in the early 70s, called How About This? Kay Starr and Count Basie. This is on the Paramount label, which assumed all of the Dot recordings. Includes such songs as I Get the Blues When It Rains, God Bless the Child, Keep Smiling at Trouble, If I Could Be With You, My Man, I Can't Stop Loving You, A Cottage for Sale. And we leave Kay Starr, and the last album is, for this week, is Dakota Stanton's The Late Late Show. Again, this is a British reissue on Capitol. It was reissued by EMI. The album originally dates from 1957. Includes such titles as Broadway, Summertime, A Foggy Day, The Late Late Show, My Funny Valentine, Moonray, Ain't No Use, etc. And there's other songs. So anyway, that's what I've been listening to this week. Actually, this week and last week. From now on, I hope to do at least one a week. I usually listen to about 6 to 10 albums a week, sometimes more. So next time it will be briefer.